Hey, Linda, welcome back. Budget class number 5.
Number 5, how time flies when we're having fun.
I love it.
And the sun came out here. I don't know where everybody else is, but we have not had any sunshine in Maine for the last week. And so right now we have sunshine and it's going to be feeling like spring before we know it. And a perfect time to think about our spending and budgeting for the next month. So
Yes,
welcome everybody from Town and Country. I'm with Town and Country Federal Credit Union. For those of you who don't know me and why I'm here. And why I'm here is that we are partnering with K.A.T.E to offer a 6-part budgeting, I guess, series to help people build their budgets, which we started back in January, and to stay on track with it and adjust as we go, and to help you reach your goals. So welcome to all the Town and Country people that are members that are on the call, and hello to the rest of you out there in the K-Squad.
Thank you, Linda. Glad to be here. Everyone, I'm so excited to see you. Town and Country members, KSQUAD members, I'm just so excited. I'm going to be talking about obviously getting our budget ready for May. I can see everyone in the comments. Hey, everyone. If you have been following along, you have already successfully done this is going into our 5th month of budgeting. And so the budget method that I use, the budget method that I utilize and that I've been sharing in this, is designed to take care of your current self and your future self, all the while never forgetting to give to others. It also distinguishes between wants and needs, so you get the most value out of your spending. As we prepare our May budget, I'm also going to kind of do this like one of my videos, and I'm going to incorporate 10 reasons your budget might not be effective. By the way, thank you everyone that has been sharing your results of this budgeting. Many of you have emailed me. Many of you have DM'd me. Some of you have commented in my video. And thank you for sharing your feedback and your results, because budgeting works, right? That's why we're all here. And so I'm so excited to be hearing your successes, because if I was able to do this as a single mom, I've been able to purchase a house. I've been able to pay off my car in full, and I've been able to build my emergency fund, which is, I think, life-changing. If you've never had an emergency fund before, it's very calming to know that you've got a backup plan when things go, when life happens, because life happens, right? Hi guys, I can see you all. So the first reason, I'm going to start with the first reason that your budget might not be effective. And that is, this is an actual example. I had a conversation with somebody. I actually did a video on this a few years ago, because when we were talking about having a budget, I said, they were sharing with me, I had a friend that was sharing with me that her budget wasn't working, and she didn't know where all of her money was going, and it was very confusing to her. So I said, so first of all, do you have a budget? And she's like, well, yeah, I mean kind of. And I'm like, what do you mean kind of? And she's like, I have a budget. And she goes, I mean like a budget. And when the air quotes went up, I'm like, wait a minute. Do you have a budget, or do you have a budget? And if you don't have a budget and you just budget, you've got to get it written down. So the first reason it might not be effective, if you just kind of think in your head, I've got it budgeted for. But if you're not writing it down via digitally or good old fashioned pen and paper, I don't know if you can call that a budget. If it's just in your head, I'm going to encourage you, if you're struggling with a budget, to write it out. I think writing it out is key. Number 2, I'm going to jump right into that one. you don't know how much you actually take home. Again, another example of a conversation. I was talking to somebody and we're having the same gist of a conversation. And I said, so do you know what your take home is? And he said, well, I make about 40,000. So divide that by 12. That's 3,333. That's what I take home. And I was like, oh, nope, that's not what you take home. That's what you make. What actually goes into, into the bank? And he was like, I have no idea. And that's why another reason, like maybe if you haven't adopted what we're doing right now, it is going to be so helpful because taxes are taken out. Maybe your health insurance, maybe your dental insurance, all that stuff. Like you have to know what actually hits the bank. So just keep that in mind. Oh, my husband's earnings fluctuate due to weather. Oh, due to weather. What does he do? And that's another thing. There's definitely fluctuating income, but my recommendation is always to estimate low. And if you make more, great. But only plan for the lowest that you make if you have very fluctuating earnings. When we're preparing for our budget for May, let's do a quick refresh. I have 4 budget categories, and this helps distinguish between your wants and your needs. The household for me, if you remember, is all the things that make your household run smoothly. These are all the needs. These are all the things if you lost your job tomorrow, if you had a medical emergency, these things still need to get paid. So when we're thinking about May, I don't have a ton of fluctuation from last month to this month. And that is another thing that you will find. There's a lot of your budget that might be just exactly the same or very close. So that's why when we're doing this session, these are 30-minute sessions because they're quicker because we've got everything set up if you have followed the last ones. And if you have not seen the other videos, if you go to my playlist tab and you go to the live videos, my live library, you can find all of them back to back. So you can catch up anytime, but you don't have to have watched the other ones to get value out of tonight. So the household, think about what you need. I'm looking at my household right now. Obviously the mortgage, my utilities. I put any medical bills in there because those are essential. Internet, AT&T, I have AT&T currently, your water bill, light, your fuel, and your groceries. My grocery bill, I always allow a little bit more in the summer because I'm more likely to invite people over in the summer. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how your year progresses, but just keep it in mind. Does your grocery budget need to fluctuate? I'm sure all of our budget categories have like fluctuated over the last year because of everything that's going on. But let's see. All right. So if we go to the next thing that's very important is your savings. And I call this your future self. So this includes anything in your savings, your 401k, all your investing, all that stuff that you are going to reap the benefits of being dedicated now for later. This for me doesn't fluctuate at all from this last month to this one. It might for you, so just take note. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the third reason why your budget might not be effective. And that's that you're not customizing it for yourself. The budget that I share with you and the one that I operate with is a zero-based budget, which means earnings minus expenses equals 0. But that's accounting for every single category. It gets to 0. You're spending all the money, but that's including putting into savings. You're assigning it in all these places so that the end result is 0 and there's nothing left on the table. You've given every dollar a name. So personal finance, as everyone says, is personal for a reason. And I have a very hard time taking Like, for example, the 50-30-20, that's not my favorite way to budget. It wouldn't work for me for many reasons. I could do a whole video on why that is not my favorite, or why I wouldn't use it. The envelope system, I know some of you do the envelope system and you love it and it works for you. Again, that's another one that it wouldn't work for me. But if either of those work for you, or it speaks to you, or you see the benefit of it and you see how you could have the path to more savings quicker, do that one. Don't feel like because I said you have to do this, you have to do this. Or someone else in the financial world says this is the best way to do it. You've got to play around a little. I played around with several things. I tried the envelopes. I did a version of the 50-30-20. Not for me. I prefer the zero-based budget. Number 4 reason why your budget might not be effective is that you are not taking the time, like we are doing here at this session, to have a unique monthly budget designed for what is happening this month. Every month is different, and I would never treat any month the same as the next. There are some that are a little similar, like my February, March block is kind of similar. My April, May is but my June to July, whoa, August is they're all so different, right? So don't just set it and forget it. In this case, you want to have a budget every single month. So we've got 2 more of these. So we're setting ourselves up right now together with the help of Town and Country. We're talking about this and we're getting the plan, but don't give up. Guys, if I'd only done this for 3 months and then stopped, it wouldn't have been effective. You know what I mean? After 3 to 6 months, that's when I started getting into the habit of this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I see where every penny is going. And I know that I can save up for this thing. As a single parent, it's very hard to pay off your car, but I did it. It's very hard to save for a house, but we did it, So it's if you are very aware of what's coming in and assigning what goes out every single month uniquely, that's going to be helpful. And I know that this way has helped a lot of you because you tell me. Number 5, one of the big goals of budgeting is to save for bigger things. Maybe you want to go on that vacation you have been always wanting to go on. Maybe you want to buy a house someday. Maybe you want to pay off your car. Maybe you want to help pay for your child's college. Maybe whatever it is, the number 5 is you're not prioritizing your savings. I hope that when we started this class, in the first hour, I shared with you that I start with the household budget because that's your essentials. But right behind that, as soon as I know my essentials, savings is the thing that I'm focusing on because that's like my end goal and thinking about the future, etc. Followed by giving. I always want to make sure I give. And then lifestyle is the icing on the cake, and those are your choices. But if you're not prioritizing your savings, for example, in your lifestyle category is way bigger, that could be a problem when you're trying to get a budget that's functioning right. Hi, everyone. Okay. So moving on to the giving category. Every month, I highly recommend that you give. Like I said at the beginning, you're planning for current self, future self, and never forgetting the needs of others around you. And I have told you this a million times if you've been with me for a bit, but giving has changed my life. I used to hold on to my money so tightly, and I had a very hard time giving because I thought, well, if I give, I won't have anything left. And that is not true. You start small, you give a little, and then eventually, hopefully, you can give more over time. But even when I was making my lowest amount of money, I would try to give even $5 to somebody else that needs it, maybe even more than me, Just start with that. Okay. So the last category, just so that we make sure that we're addressing that, is lifestyle. And lifestyle is everything that you're choosing. That's not your mortgage. I mean, you chose that, hopefully. That's not your groceries because you need to eat. But in my lifestyle category, this is where I have going out to eat. This is where I have even like my hair, like haircuts. That's actually for me lifestyle. Do I need to get my hair colored? No. If I got my nails done, I don't. But if I did, that's where it would be. If I go on vacation, if I anything that's like fun and I'm choosing it and it's not essential to live, that's what goes under the lifestyle category. So my three main things that are kind of like a thing for a change for my budget personally, since we're going over all ours, my car insurance, I do the lump sum of 6 months so that I can get the discount. So that is due in May, which is fine. I always have that ready to go. I'm always planning for that. I have that saved up so that it's not like a shocker. The other thing is okay, so the car insurance, this would go in my household because I need the car insurance. That's for me deemed a necessity. Mother's Day, although I mean, I hope you guys are all honoring your mothers and want to do that. That I put under, well, it depends on what I'm doing, but under, it could be under giving if I do like an experience or something. I mean, it could be, could be in the lifestyle depending on what we're doing. But I put all gifting in my giving also. So baby shower gifts, bridal shower gifts, any of those kind of things. Anytime where I'm giving to others, I do put that in there so that I can keep tracking, don't get out of control, because you guys know one of my love language, ironically, is/was gift giving. The other thing is Memorial Day weekend. If you've got that little bit longer weekend and you plan something, I don't know if anyone's going, if anybody has weather for the beach, Linda knows we don't have the beach weather right now, so we're probably not getting that. But if anybody does, making sure that you have that in your lifestyle category for that. Oh, I've heard of this before. Sassy Sue says, I don't spend $5 bills. They go in savings. I've heard of that. I've heard of that method. Anytime you have a $5 bill, you save it. Love it. Moving on to the number 6 reason your budget might not be effective. And I cannot, I cannot stress this enough. When you start budgeting, if you're not in the habit yet, you must track all of your expenses. If you drop by the gas station and you grab a Gatorade, if you whatever it is where you think it might seem insignificant, it is not. It is not insignificant. It is significant every dollar when you're doing this, because $5 adds up, $6, $3, $2, it all adds up. Don't let anything slide for a bit, or forever. Okay, number 7. Oh, and the tracking, let me just give you a little bonus thing that we've also talked about prior. But if you don't track all of your expenses currently and you're not in this habit, dedicate 5 minutes every day to doing this. I like to do it in the morning. That's what I usually do when I get up and I come sit at my computer. I'll do it for 10 minutes. If I have a receipt or something laying around, what I always do, this desk right here, if I come home, I'll plop the receipt on my desk and I'll deal with it in the morning. So I always do that. So get in the habit. 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes every day. You guys know I use the Every Dollar app. So if you do that, you can do it that way. But if not, pen and paper, account for it, write it down. Number 7, another reason your budget might not be as effective as you want it to be is that you disregard irregular expenses. When Kaden started going to school fundraisers school pictures, teacher get whatever it is that like is like not always a thing, or maybe you're not in the habit of. Irregular expenses can ruin your budget if you don't have a plan for them. Okay? So if you that's another reason I like to have a budget buffer, which I think we talked about maybe in the second session. Having a budget buffer is 1 month of expenses in your checking at all times in case of something. It's almost like a mini emergency fund, but I don't want to call it that. It's your budget buffer. If you go over on a category, if you have an irregular expense that you forgot about, your budget buffer, what is that? Your budget buffer will save you because you've got it like stacked in there. So if your monthly expenses are $2,000 every month, like I'm talking your household, like your quintessential must pays are $2,000 a month, always have $2,000 in your account at all times, in your checking, and pretend it says zero because that's going to save you. Darlene, she says, I do my budget and every dollar. I'm terrible about inputting the transactions into it. Darlene, that's exactly what I use every dollar, and I do it for 5 minutes every morning. Try to just pair it with something that you like. So do you like coffee? Do you want to sit with your coffee and do it then? Or do you prefer at night? You're watching your favorite show and you're kind of in the background just inputting your numbers. Like find something that you love doing and pair it with this so that you can get in the habit of doing it. That's one of my favorite things to do. Hi, Connie, and you do pen and paper. Lots of pen and paper. D-Barts, Elisa. Pen and paper works. It's classic, the classic method. That's a great idea about keeping at least a month of expenses in the account. Thanks, Cheryl. I really think that has saved me in many cases. Number 8. You don't budget for the unexpected or straight up mistakes. Tires will blow. Dishwashers will break. There's going to be a shower or somebody's birthday that popped up and you need to get a gift and you're like, oh gosh, I forgot about that. It's unexpected. It's on the fly. That's another reason to have I'm just going to build my budget buffer case here as strong as possible. And then also the emergency fund is crucial. Let me know in the comments, do you have an emergency fund? And if so, what have you built it up to? Guys, even if you start with $100, right? Like you start with 100 and then you're building that every week and you're just going from there. If you have to start from scratch, I don't care where you start, just start, because this emergency fund, there's going to be an emergency down the way at some point. I hope you never have to use it, but the emergency fund is for when the bigger stuff happens. But that budget buffer will catch you on the regular, you know what I mean? But you've got to be proactive in making the plan, and this budget does that. Number 9, and we talked about this again in sessions 1 and 2, you don't adjust your budget as the month goes on. You don't adjust your budget as the month goes on. The word adjust I use in the K.A.T.E method. Many of you are familiar with the K.A.T.E method, which stands for keep focus, adjust, track, and eliminate. I have a video in the description if you want to check out the K.A.T.E method after this for more information. That's how I save. That's like my mindset for all my finances is using the K.A.T.E method. So that link is in the description. Check it out if you are interested. Hi, Donna Norris. I see you. Cruz and Connie said, I think I broke every dollar. Hi, Terry and Celeste. Okay, so what I mean by you don't adjust as the month goes on, and I want to be very clear about this too, because just like with the tracking, I'm sorry I use this example all the time, but if you plan $100 for gas in your car and you only spend 80, but you set your budget, you put 100 in, so it's fine. And it came in under 100, so you're good. You're not good. Good that you stayed within the budget, but what are you doing with that 20 bucks? That's money on the table. Say you get your electric bill and you planned for $150 and it comes in at 100. Awesome. We stayed on budget, but you've got $50. If you don't do the 50 and the 20, where did that go? It's just you're not accounting for it and you're not putting it toward your goals. My default on every dollar, anytime it comes in early, I put in what I actually spent, I take the remainder and I put it back in the savings every time. Unless there was something like, say for example, the going out to eat restaurant budget, which is in my lifestyle. Say I needed, like I had a special event coming up and I needed to put it in there. Maybe I'll dump it in there or part of it or half. But it's so easy to just take the remainder, pop it up into savings or where else that money can be served. Don't forget about it. You've got to know it's there. If you don't know it's there, don't just, Nancy, the app I use is called Every Dollar. It's a Dave Ramsey tool, everydollar.com. You can get the app on your phone, but I prefer the desktop because I prefer using my mouse and I prefer to type faster this way. I see everything better. And the last reason your budget might not be as effective as you want it to be is you disregard the budget that you took all this time to set up. I hear this all the time. I set up a budget. I did all the work like you're doing right now. And then life happens and they forget about the budget and they just completely disregard it. And boo-hoo, it's not effective if you're not using it. Donna's a spreadsheet girl. Ooh, look at all this. 4 months, 6 months. Valerie. Hey, Valerie. 6 months expenses for emergency fund, 1 month for the budget buffer. Boom. That's perfect. That is so great. Guys, everybody that's doing this, like you're working on it. It might be a slow growth process, but it's going to get you there and it's going to get you to where you need. Oh, a lot of 4K. That's great. I couldn't get every dollar to work on my phone. Too stressful. Pen and paper works better for me. Yeah. Spreadsheet. Yeah. So the paper and pen method is so underrated, right? It's classic. It will work. People either love technology or they hate it. Don't feel like you have to jump into technology if that's going to add more stress. If adding the technology to this budgeting adds more stress, don't do it. Stick to your pen and paper. It's the same thing. It's just me now, because I've gotten in the habit of using every dollar. To me, it's pen and paper on that, and I don't have to erase anything. It's just like, my thing now. Oh my gosh. It's already almost time, isn't it? Oh my gosh. All right. Let me just see what I can. Oh, look at all these guys. I'm so listen, I know that we haven't seen each other in a little while. So I will set up another time, like another live where we can chit chat and talk about other stuff. But I hope that this budgeting session 5 has been helpful for you in getting motivated, getting inspired. And, since we're in session 5, like stirring up okay, what do I need to adjust for this upcoming month to have my best May ever? All right, I'm going to see what Linda's up to. Hi, Linda. I could just keep going and going. Oh, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Linda? Oh, Sorry.
I was unmuted. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. Yay.
I was getting some feedback before, so I unmuted
Oh.
in case it came through. So bottom line is do what works, it sounds like. Do what works for you because, yeah, everybody's different and everybody finds a different method. So absolutely. And I was just going to find the date for number 6. So hang on,
Oh,
which is
yes.
I think May 24th at 6:30 is the
Yes,
name of the
please
final
join us
session.
May 24th, 6:30. Again, that's going to be our final session, session number 6. I'm so excited to see how everybody's doing. Great job, everybody.
So it might be a great time, for people to share, kind of their takeaways from the last, 6 months working on this as, part of that.
Yes, on session 6, please come ready with what's been going on. Let us know your successes, and yes, exactly. Do what works for you. And what I've always done is I've taken a little bit of what I learned here and a little bit of what I learned here. So you might get some stuff from me, and then you have other people or other methods that you've heard. And I did like a combination until I figured out what worked. And I'm confident you guys will too.
Well, thanks again, Kate, for all these great tips and ideas, and thanks everybody for joining us. And I'm sure you'll be talking to a lot of the folks that are on the call between now and next month for sure. But we'll see you back here on May 24th.
Perfect. And everyone, Frugal Friday resumes this Friday. So I will see you, hopefully, everyone watching on Friday. Okay.
What are we talking about on Friday?
On Friday, I'm actually sharing 10 things I am not buying for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love those videos. It's kind of a trendy thing, but I have another video in the past that I did. And I want to do an updated one. And the 10 things are to save money, but also kind of like from a minimalist perspective, not crowding my house with things I don't need. All right, guys. We will see you Friday. Thank you, everyone.